Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show. We have a
I scared him. he's going to the heart doctor. We gotta be careful.
4 o'clock, I'm going on a treadmill.
Yes, hello, what's up? Welcome back to the Pop-Up with Paul and Friends. Thanks for clicking whatever you clicked to listen right now. Make sure you subscribe, leave reviews. Guys, I'm having conversations in here every week. Each week they get better and better. They're more fun. I mean, that doesn't mean that guests that earlier weren't as fun. I just mean that we keep having a lot of fun in here, and I'm just super grateful you're here to check it out, to listen. Make sure you keep coming back. We're doing shows every week, and this week is no different. And this week's a little bit more New Jersey, you know what I'm saying? A little Jersey. This comedian I've seen all over the place. A fun story about this comic. I saw one of his clips before I knew him in person, which I love the world of comedy now. You know, you got good material. You're a funny comedian. Comedy fans can see our work and discover comedians. It's happening all the time now. And I basically discovered this guy as a comedy fan, as a fellow comedian, before I knew him personally. Fast forward, we were able to get in touch. He came on the pod. But before I invite him on to hang out with you guys, I do want you to hear the bit. I love his bit. I remember seeing this and sending it to my entire family, very Italian family. This is Mike Marino, If the President Was Italian.
We need to involve Italian people in more things in this world, ladies and gentlemen. We wouldn't have half the problems we're having in this country, am I right? My dream was always to see a nice Italian president from New Jersey run the country for a little bit. How much fun would that be? He wouldn't even need 4 years in the White House. 3 months, straighten out the whole country. Done. And I'll tell you right now, we had an Italian president running the country. This war in Afghanistan be over. You wouldn't know how, but it'd be over. And then they'd ask our president, like a really big news conference, be like, Mr. President, you ended the war in Baghdad. Can you tell us how you did it? Our boy be on national television in a 3-piece suit, smoking a cigarette going, Don't worry about it. Yeah. You just go enjoy the gas prices at 32 cents a gallon now, okay?
Give it up for another Jersey boy, Mike Marino. I feel like you could walk into anywhere with that outfit and you make moves.
You know, it's funny. I'm wearing my tracksuit outfit for 2 reasons. One, to show people that I sell it on your show.
There you go.
Because I want to sell this stuff. Got to make my money back. And 2, I'm going to get my heart checked today.
That's right.
So I got to go on a treadmill. And they tell you to come in a gym suit.
Right.
Or, you know, like a wise guy looking tracksuit.
Are you like, Doc, it's fine. I already dress like this every day?
Yeah. He probably expected me to come with shorts on. No. Today I'm going to go get on that treadmill. You know, you run and they check your heart and whatnot. My biggest fear is when they take that sticky stuff off the hair on my chest. That always hurts.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't really, doctors, ER, they don't really care about the Italian hair when it comes to that stuff. It's happened to me too. You know what's worse is surgery. When they paint that surgery stuff and they have to, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
That brown, what is
like
that?
The brown glue.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's the formula.
You've been in Hollywood a long time, on and off. You still retain your Italian hair, right? Because I see some guys waxing their chests. I'm not about that life.
Well, I do keep it trim. I trim.
Okay.
Then again, you know, I'm a different Italian. I'm blonde.
You're a blonde,
you don't
so
see
can.
it too much.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, you know, like around the summertime, trim that.
There you go.
Trim
See,
it down.
you should talk to my wife because
I wax my back too.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I think depends on the age. My dad got real hairy like around where I'm at now, so I'm about to cross over like Miracle Grow. I'm about to become a chia pet.
But you have dark hair, so I can only imagine.
Yeah. Now, I love what you say. You have a bit about first of all, you have so many bits about Italians and growing up Italian. I appreciate you asking to come on and connect because I feel like you're somebody I feel like I know. Like you feel like my family. We're both from Jersey, Italian. Where's your family from originally? In Italy.
My mother's from a town called Doronia, which is in Campobasso, Italy.
Campobasso,
We're Abruzzese. My father's a Jersey boy.
Okay.
His family, I think, is from Sicily. There might be a little Sicilian in me. I'm not 100% sure. But my mom's bloodline, I know the most.
Yeah. That's so funny. I'm similar with mine. My dad's first generation and my mom is second. Similar to you. So
Right.
from the home country, did they go to New York first, or was it Jersey?
New Jersey.
Oh, straight to Jersey.
Jersey City.
Okay, right next to the city.
Jersey City, of course, is right on the other side of the Statue of Liberty, which they say the Statue of Liberty is in New Jersey.
Right.
Ellis Island's in New Jersey. So when they were coming over on the boat long time ago, that's where everybody went. Jersey City. There was so many Italians back in that day.
Does it? Whoa, hello. Does it bother you a little bit? It does for me. New York. I love New York. I lived in New York for 10 years. But thousands, millions of people immigrated to New Jersey. That's not really the story. That's not what history tells. They say, I went to New York.
Right.
It's really New Jersey.
It is, actually.
Why don't we get the respect like New York does?
I guess because of the buildings that were all there before they got there, and the city, the island.
Yeah.
Me personally, I really don't care. As long as we're all here and we're happy.
That's true. But you really rep New Jersey proud. I feel like certain people, especially when you travel the country, even me, I fall like victim to this. I'll go, I'm from New York. If I'm abroad, if I'm in a different state, you are like Mr. New Jersey. Have you always been that way?
I don't know exactly, because when I was coming up as an actor in New York City and I was going from New Jersey to the city to audition, I was trying everything I could to be an all-American, blonde, blue-eyed boy with no accent, no ties to New Jersey, just wanted to be an actor, wanted to be on a soap opera, wanted to do movies, and I was doing all these apple pie, bubble gum TV commercials because I had that face. It really wasn't until I came to California in my early 20s that people started saying, you kind of sound funny, the way you do's and this and those. And I'm like, why? I really do that? Because I never really thought I did until I came to California. And then everybody's like, ah, man, you guys curse so much. I'm like, the fuck are you talking about? I didn't curse at all. I really didn't know. I was... So when they saw my face with blonde hair and blue eyes, and I said, I want to be in a mob movie, they're like, no, you're going to be the Irish cop and you're going to get whacked in 30 seconds. That's all you are.
Yeah.
I turned that into stand-up.
That's amazing.
And then I would imitate people in my family, like my Uncle Tommy, which I do still to this day, and my mom, and the way my father would say things. A lot of people say, the way you put out that cigarette, the movement of putting out a cigarette when I talk to somebody. I got that from my dad. My dad smoked so many cigarettes, like 2 packs a day. But he was the type of guy, if you asked him a question, he would have to take a drag of that cigarette and put it out with his foot before he'd answer the question. So it's like, Dad, you think it's going to be a sunny day? My father would go like this. Yeah. How could I not do that?
It sounds like that character from Sopranos was based off your dad. What's his name? He's in Jersey, but he's a New York guy. I can't remember his name now. He smokes heavy cigarettes before he talks. That's basically the character. Yes. I can't believe I forget his name. It's my favorite show. It's because it's early morning right now.
Yeah.
But there's a fabric and a character to, and obviously we're biased, but I love having you on because you feel like home to me. And it's like people watch The Sopranos or they see characters, and that's truly how I grew up too. That's my family. That's people around me. It's fun in your stand-up that you kind of use that and shared it with the world, right? Like I don't know anybody who does Italian characters better. Your characters are hilarious. They're so real. What was it for you growing up? Did you start impersonating people at a young age? Were you like, hey, this is funny, or did it happen on stage?
No, you're right. From a very young age, I was impersonating people. When I was like, I don't know, 5, 6 years old, I would watch TV commercials, and then I'd go perform the commercial in front of my mother. Right? I'm probably a lot older than you. Let's say they used to have so many commercials with jingles, and you would memorize the song, and then I would do it. Use Ajax, ba-boom, boom, the Blue Dot Cleanser, ba-ba-ba-ba-boom. And that's like, I guess, 60s.
Yeah.
And I would do that. And, of course, your parents are looking at you like, your father has a construction company. You're going to be fine. Don't worry. You're going to work for your dad. But that's what I started doing.
Right. Yeah.
If you remember some of these commercials. And then I started doing a lot of TV commercials from the age of like 14, 15 years old. A lot of people never knew I came from an acting background because usually stand-ups go into acting, not acting into stand-up.
Yeah. What was that switch for you doing acting? I mean, the commercial world, I can relate. I used to audition for commercials as a kid, actually, as well. And obviously you want to make it's good money as commercials. But was there a moment when you got into that where you're like, people like me, they like my voice, they like the way I do impersonations. I want to go try this on stage and make people laugh? And was it back then? Was it the 70s?
Late 70s, early 80s.
Oh my God. What a time to start comedy, man. That's amazing.
Yeah, because I think it might have been more 80s. 80s.
Okay.
I had a few friends that were on television shows, pretty famous television shows, and we'd all get together and go out and talk, and everybody would say, you know, you're really funny. The way you talk, the way you act, the things that you say. Did you ever think of getting into stand-up? And I came from the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, so I'm like, I'm offended by that. No, I'm a thespian. I'm an actor. So one friend of mine, his name was Joey Gian. His real name is Joey Giangrosso, and he was on Knots Landing.
Oh, cool.
He was one of the stars of the show. And he said to me, he goes, you know, the way you talk about your uncle, the way you impersonate people, why don't you go over to the Comedy Store and just say, hey, I want to try some stand-up. And I was like, nah, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. He goes, yeah, but, you know, stand-ups create their own careers. You don't have to wait around for an audition. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I says, but I'm an actor. I'm a trained actor. And he goes, then play the role of a stand-up. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So I grabbed some impersonations in my head, and I went to a bunch of open mics, and I found myself at the Comedy Store, and I auditioned for Mitzi Shore back at that time. It was in the 80s. And she said to me, no, you're not, that's not what you're supposed to do. You're impersonating people who exist. That's not funny. You didn't tell me who you are. Tell me who you are.
Interesting.
And I says, lady, look, I really don't even want to be a comic. And she come back in 3 months and tell me who you are. Get on the stage and tell me who you are. So I went back sometime later, and I went back on the stage, and I was impersonating Fire Marshal Bill from In Living Color. I was doing De Niro. I was doing Pacino. I was doing all these impersonations. And she goes, no, that's not who you are. And I went like this, well, you really want to know who I am? I'll tell you right now. I fucking hate California. This shit sucks. I don't want to be a comedian. I'm in traffic half the time that I'm out here. I can't book any TV commercials. I have blonde hair and blue eyes, and I'm never going to play a mobster, and that's what I want to do. And she goes, that's who you are.
That's amazing.
Great.
Yep.
You're a regular. I'm like, really?
Wow.
What the fuck?
That's, oh my God.
And that's how that happened.
Wow.
Then I just started going, oh, I guess I should really just talk about my real life.
Right.
Which is what we all really do now.
Yeah. That's amazing to hear,
Your
though,
life.
because, yeah, I am inspired by that story because I think with stand-up, and part of this show, I'm really, you know Guy Torrey, who we had on. I am a student of stand-up. I've been doing it a few years. What attracts me to it so much, though, is that authenticity, is celebrated more than ever, and the best material. By the way, you know we're in LA when you got some gluten-free, vegan. What were you going to say?
Banana bread. This is California. If my mother was here right now, she'd go, put that down.
Yeah.
Put that down.
By the way, I'm trying to treat the Jersey Italian to a nice show, and I went to the fanciest LA cafe. I said,
love
have some banana bread.
No, I love banana bread.
It's Italian. The bananas are Italian, which means...
You know, my mother used to give me when I was a little kid, there was date nut loaf cake.
Oh, yeah.
Remember date nut loaf cake? And then cream cheese. It's the best.
Interesting in life, though, because I'm giving my 5-month-old date prune juice right now. Similar thing. For her to go to the bathroom. She's having date juice, basically, in the morning. It's funny in life. It starts in a few months.
Good.
It's good. Are you vegan? You've been here long enough. You're vegan, right? No, I'm kidding. So what I was saying is, I love hearing that because it takes a couple years of being on stage. I'm similar. I'm just starting to talk about my real life, what makes me upset. I don't love LA either. I do talk about that in my stand-up a little bit, but also I don't want to be a comic who just rips on LA. But there's something about that authenticity on stage that is so great about your stand-up, and that's why it's resonating with the internet. It's resonating with audiences, right? You've been doing this for decades. Something about telling, that's the most successful comics. You tell them who you are, and you make it funny, and you make it true to you. Did you find that once Mitzi kind of taught you that's really what opened the floodgates for you in terms of the stand-up career?
At that time, that's when a lot of the comedians were coming up, rehearsing, going out there every night, doing everything you could to catch a rhythm and train. So it was like college. There were nights where I would go on stage in the main room on a Saturday night at 2 o'clock in the morning and perform in front of nobody. And it would make you strong.
Yeah.
So then eventually when you start touring and you get in this many years in the industry, I dare anybody to talk to me while I'm performing. Somebody wrote on the internet the other day, I saw Mike Marino get heckled on this past Saturday night at the Comedy Chateau, and he responded like John Gotti. And, you know, because I'm so used to doing it, I read body posture.
Yeah.
And I know who's uncomfortable, who's comfortable, who's drunk, who's going to talk to me. So some young girl decided she needed to yell out, Cardi B, Cardi B. And instead of making fun of her, I made fun of the guy she was with.
Nice.
And I said, doesn't it suck that you're not man enough to take care of your girl while she's talking to a show?
Wow.
What's the matter with you, pal? By now, I'd have had my arm around her neck. She wouldn't be breathing. And the place just started screaming. And it's embarrassing because now this guy is going to get up and escort her out.
Yeah. You know you're like causing a fight later, but you're also, you know, commanding the stage. You're doing your job.
There are people who heckle enjoy, who just want to be part of the show. Maybe you strike a nerve.
Right.
And you could tell the body posture. But there are people who might heckle you who have nothing really to say. Mm-hmm. And it's a waste of time.
Yeah. It's funny how in a split second as a comedian, you need to know where to go with it. I had a girl yelling at me on St. Patrick's Day in the front row, hammered. And I make the mistake a lot of time of giving them too much. Like you have, decades of experience of knowing. I love people, so I'll get distracted up there. Like you got to stay focused in a way because she was just drunk. Finally, I was like, all right, we'll drink after the. I'll do a shot with you later, but I'm talking. You know, one of those things. You know, because it's hard sometimes in the moment to figure out where you're going to go with it. On the other side of it, I think people love when it's spontaneous and there's people in the crowd doing things. There's a fine line, don't you think?
There is. The spontaneity of a response can ignite the audience into the biggest applause you've ever had. Mm-hmm. Because neither of us saw it coming. Mm-hmm. But then there's also the times where people will interrupt while you're doing something that would have killed if they didn't say anything.
Yeah. And then you go
could become a pain in the ass.
You get in your head about it. You go, you ruined my freaking joke. I'm trying to do my thing.
Yep.
Who was around? The Comedy Store has been through many iterations of like training and comedians. Who was there in the 80s? I feel like that was Jim Carrey and Leno and Letterman were there a little bit earlier, right? But that was a heyday for like development of really big people, you included.
I think I got into the Comedy Store in 89.
Okay.
I might even say I was one of the 90s guys.
Okay. Bob Saget.
There was a famous comedy club on the Jersey Shore called Rascals Comedy Club. And that's where I started going to open mics before I came out to California. They had a Tuesday night open mic. And at that time, believe it or not, it was packed, the open mic, because it was almost like going to watch the Gong Show. People couldn't wait to see people fail. Mm-hmm. And the place was famous. Mm-hmm. Don't forget, there was no internet. People wanted to go out. Mm-hmm. So in the summer on the Jersey Shore, you caught a Tuesday night before hump day. You went to Rascals on Route 35 in Neptune, or Eatontown. Mm-hmm. They had one in West Orange, which was the famous one. And then they both became famous. So I went there for a while. Then when I came out to California and I was trying to audition for things like during pilot season, then I was going over to the Comedy Store. So I would say Jim Carrey was, let's say, years before me.
Yeah, okay.
I went there with Sebastian Maniscalco, Brett Ernst, Michael Wheels Parisi, Joe Coy, a lot of guys.
Yeah.
Girls, too. Mm-hmm. Some girls who hit big, guys who hit big, and some people that just walked out of the business.
Yeah. Stand-up is so interesting to me like that. And I also, I appreciate you being a friend and coming on because I really love the family aspect of it in a way. Like when you come up with people, when you're working together, when you respect each other. Like the respect of a comic in a way is like the best feeling versus, like you can kill, but you also want comedians to think you're good, but you want it's both things in a way, right? Like
it is. Because what I enjoy now is I've seen a lot of comedians wait to see what I'm going to do.
That's awesome.
They could have left. They went on first, time to go, but a lot of comedians will say, let's see what he's going to do. Mm-hmm. And I enjoy that. I love being asked questions by other guys who are up and coming, and I love the fact that some of my friends who are big name stars will call me going, "Hey, where are you, man? What are you doing?"
Yeah.
Which is cool. I did 10 years of sketch comedy on The Tonight Show. So I did a lot of sketches with Jay Leno and all the stars that he had on the show. And it's odd because I never did stand-up on The Tonight Show. But I went there as an auditioner for stand-up on The Tonight Show. But the casting director said, I don't cast stand-up, the other guy does, but I do sketch. You want to do sketch? So I said, yeah, I have an acting background. So before you know it, I'm on the show every week. And I was having fun. And then I got to do stand-up on the Martin Short Show. Mm-hmm. And I did my set, and everybody was happy. And I got to meet Phyllis Diller. Phyllis Diller was in the green room. She was being interviewed that day.
Wow.
And then when the set came out and I went to the Tonight Show the following week to do a skit. And the stage manager goes, hey, man, I saw you doing stand-up on Martin Short last week. You're great. And I go, thanks. He goes, well, why aren't you doing stand-up here? And I'm like, you all talk to each other? What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I wanted to. Yeah. Well, we should have you on the show. I'm like, well, yeah. It's a weird business.
And then you stayed as a sketch guy and never did.
Yeah, because the casting director actually eventually said to me, goes, you're making great money doing this. You're getting residuals. Why not just do it?
Yeah.
Don't say nothing.
Yeah. It is weird in show business. You do have to say yes and do a bunch of jobs that maybe isn't exactly like great jobs like that isn't maybe the stand-up you wanted to do, but it's still an amazing comedic job to have, and also a good time for the Tonight Show to be doing bit characters and stuff. That must have been a blast.
It was so much fun.
Yeah.
And this is before TikTok and it's before Instagram. I only wish that stuff was around then, because we were doing skits with stars that were being interviewed. Mm-hmm. And I was always a plant. They would put me in the audience and do a joke, a setup of a joke. Mm-hmm. Oh, here's a question from so-and-so. And like, eventually people knew it. It's Mike Marino.
Yeah.
And I did a bit on The Tonight Show with me, Jay, and Howie Mandel. And Howie Mandel wrote the joke. And we had a rehearsals, and me and this other guy were dressed like Liberace. And the joke was, he says to Jay, look at this book, the way Liberace used to dress. Who would ever dress like that? And then the guy in the audience goes, I would. And he's dressed like Liberace. So the audience laughs. And then he looks at Jay and goes, well, I guess 1 in a million. And then I stood up and go, excuse me. And I go, I think I look pretty good. And they laugh. They're looking at me going, oh, I guess another guy dressed. And it didn't get a laugh.
Really?
And I don't know why. And all of a sudden, Jay goes to Howie, I think somebody should have came to rehearsals. And I go, how was that rehearsals? And now everybody's cracking up.
Oh, that's great.
So this was one of the reasons why they always had me, because if it flopped, I would do something that would make everybody laugh no matter what.
That's the best.
Because then, of course, they're realizing, well, this was a plant.
Yeah.
And the joke didn't hit, but they made it hit.
Yeah.
There's even another one where Jay messed up his line, and he goes, I was in the audience, and I said, I know it's sweeps week. You should have something more interesting on your show. And he goes, like what? And I go, a big-chested blonde model. And he goes, what do you want? A big-breasted? I go, chested.
Not scripted.
Chested.
Yeah.
Right? Then Fabio comes walking out. So if it was breasted, the joke wouldn't have worked.
Right.
It's supposed to be chest.
Right.
And Fabio was on those butter commercials at the time.
Yeah.
So he sits in my lap, and I go, oh. And he goes, oh, anything for sweeps weeks. So when it was all said and done, he goes, we'll be right back after this commercial break. He looks at me and goes, oh, shit. But the camaraderie of the failure of the joke,
the best,
made everybody have fun
exactly.
Anyway.
I think when things fail, it's funnier. Like Johnny Carson was a master of that when his jokes would bomb.
Yes.
And even wouldn't they even plant jokes in his monologue purposefully for him just to watch him squeal out of it in a way?
Maybe.
I think they said that about his monologue. I love that stuff, man. That's like an era of comedy sketch. Like I know you say you wish you had TikTok, but I don't know. The spontaneity of that on TV is also kind of lost now too. It's like there's new media, but we don't really do comedy. There's no comedy bits that are like, falling flat and then being saved in the moment as you record. Like I love that stuff.
It's actually funnier. I mean, I have so many of these bits now when I think about it. The smirk that comes over your face when a joke's not working. That look of ooh,
Yeah.
makes the people laugh even harder.
Yeah.
Because it's like they're saying, well, they know it. It's not that funny.
Yeah. It's an awareness. At the end of the day, I don't mean to like fully dissect comedy, but there's a humility to being like, I'm messing up, but I know you guys know I'm messing up. So let's have fun in another way. And I think I get philosophical about life. Like things go wrong in life. If you can look at it a different way and find I like what you say that in the beginning of your new special. You go like, hey, I hate when people are in a bad mood. Laugh at life. Like you have that perspective too, it seems like. We can't forget that as people and also as entertainers. Like there's always going to be mistakes and you can always turn them to be fun.
I think in real life, it is one of the most difficult things to do. But if you did laugh at things that don't work out, it works out.
Right.
A little easier. Like the other day, this really happened to me. I pulled into a laundromat and I have them do my laundry. So when I pulled into the laundromat, I give the lady my clothes. We laugh a little bit because she recognizes me. I come quite often. I go back out to my car, dead. My battery was shot. And I'm like, I can't believe this. I got so many things to do. I can't have a shot battery. How come this? So I called AAA. I never called AAA. I never had a problem. But I got AAA. The guy shows up, and he goes, where's the car? And I says, it's in the back of the laundromat. So we go over to the car. He pops open the lid, and he grabs the wire on the battery and starts the car. He goes, it's a loose battery. It's a loose cable. And I started cracking up. And he goes, why are you laughing? And I go, come on, man. That's the problem?
Yeah, that's it.
You think I would have opened the lid and looked myself?
Right.
That's not like I don't know how.
Yeah.
I just figured I needed a new battery.
Right.
So the guy tightens it, and I'm still cracking up laughing. He can't believe I'm laughing. And I go, I'm laughing because this is not that big of a deal.
Right.
I thought I was going to spend thousands of dollars with God knows what's I'm going to be late for my appointment. Mm-hmm. And that's all it was.
Yeah.
And I go, so I think that's funny. So I hand the guy a $20 bill, and he starts cracking up. And I go, why is that funny? He goes, I didn't expect to get any money. I'm like, good for us.
There we go.
Good for us.
We're both having funny moments we didn't expect. That's great,
Yeah.
man. That's great. You got to look at problems that way. It's so hard in the moment sometimes when shit really hits the fan. It's hard in life to be like, let me see what's funny here, what's fun. But that's what's helped me with stand-up, too. As life goes askew, I do now think as a comic more times than not. And then you think, this might be something. This could be something on stage. This could be part of my job. It makes life more fun if you're a working comic, I think.
Everything that's going on in your world, good, bad, or indifferent, is going to be funny to someone as soon as you say it. Because you're going to say what's going on in somebody else's life.
Yeah.
Soon as I walked into your garage, I'm like, man, I want this place. I want that stop sign. I want that lounge chair. I want the penguin. I want to play the drums. Everything in here, these red chairs
Thank
from
you.
a kitchen from long ago.
Yep.
This is the place to be.
Thank you. Well, listen, man.
I'd get a microwave, though, because you got to heat this coffee
You're
from
right.
time to time.
You're right. We should get a microwave. I'm an
Or
Italian.
a Keurig.
I'm an Italian, but I'm a businessman. I'm happy to rent this to you for a cheap rate, dude. Whatever
Well,
you want.
we'll do something.
Cash.
When I do my
Envelopes.
show live from my mother's basement, we really are in the basement I grew up in.
That's
I
amazing.
own the house I grew up in.
That's the Italian Wayne's World,
Yeah.
pretty much.
All the antiques in my house are from my mother's life.
Wow.
I got sleds from the 1940s in the ceilings. I got a cash register from the late 1800s. So I like all of this stuff.
Behind you is a Victrola from the 1800s.
I saw that.
That's an original, still working record player. That's all acoustic, no electricity. 1800s, and it sounds pretty ridiculous. But it almost sounds haunted. I'll play it later, maybe. But I love that stuff too. I'm attracted. I can't say I'm attracted to you. That's the wrong thing to say to you in a weird room and a couch. I'm attracted to your era of comedy and also what you appreciate about life, because I think stuff is, I don't know if I romanticize this. This is why it's good to talk to you about comedy. I love the way things were. I love live TV in the 50s. I love Steve Allen. I love Dean Martin. I love these guys who got on stage and were in the moment and things went wrong and they made it work. Vaudeville. I have all that in my bones and my studying. Like, I feel like I'm of that era in a way, even though I'm like my age. But you seem like a guy from that time who's still doing relevant stuff today. Has that been important to you? Have you thought about like what came before and what you do now? Because your clips go viral on the internet. You have great views you're doing current comedy that's hitting, but you have that authenticity of that time too. Do you think about yourself that way?
No, I actually never really thought it that way, but I do have a great and lucky and blessed career that I performed with people from
That's amazing.
that era.
So you learned.
Dean Martin has a daughter, and her name is Dina.
I know,
and Dina tours, and I've been her opening act for hundreds of shows.
Wow.
She recreated the Dean Martin comedy roasts,
Wow.
calling it the Dina Martin comedy roasts, and I've gotten to be on those shows. And there were some that we did in Vegas, and this one particular one, she has all her stars on stage from back in the day. Joe Piscopo from New Jersey. It's just so many names. I can't think of it off the top of my head. And we roasted Joe Mantegna, and I already know Joe Mantegna. So, like, all these cats all know each other.
It's amazing.
And I'm feeling like, look at me, man. I'm Don Rickles. I'm part of the Rat Pack. Look at me. And then I also got to open for Robert Davi, who has a 22-piece orchestra, and he's been in all these major movies. And he called me one day, like you did. He goes, come on, G, let's go kick it at Vibratos. Now I'm the opening act for a jazz band, and all his friends are famous people, and I feel like I am part of that.
Yeah.
And then you get comfortable with those people, and they're comfortable with you.
Yeah.
And they call you and say, hey, man, you want to go do this show? And you're actually getting a phone call from what I think is Hollywood royalty.
Right.
Mike, we're going on tour. Do you want to go? And I'm like, of course I want to go.
Amazing.
And then after you do what they want you to do on stage, because now you're a comedian walking out on stage with a 22-piece orchestra. I don't sing songs. I can't sing, so it's never really going to happen in my life. Unless you're the opening act, and the band has to sit there, and they play you on.
That's amazing.
And while you get to know the guys in the band, and you get to know them, and they know what you do. So here comes the fun now, because we're going to clown around.
Together.
So I was on stage one night, and Robert Davi was singing. I said, you know what, screw it. And I walked out on stage after he sang a song, and I had a towel over my arm and a drink in my hand, and I'm going like, would you hurry up? I got some girls in the green room. What are you doing? And everybody's laughing, and he's laughing. He's cracking a smile. And then your buddy Sal Valentinetti.
The man.
Me and Sal did this co-headlining show. I want to say we were in Philadelphia somewhere. There's 1,500 people. We don't even know each other. I was hired to do a 45-minute set in front of him. They wanted to take an intermission. Then he'd come out with the band. And I said, guys, you can't do that. It's going to ruin the momentum of the show. Don't take that intermission. I'll cut my stuff down. And then I'll bring out Sal.
Nice.
Don't do it. So I was killing. The place is going great. I go, how about that? You guys, are you ready for some music, folks? And everybody starts cheering. Now, come on, I need to hear some music. So it makes the band walk out. The band sits down, and I go, and now? And he comes out bigger than life. Sal Valentinetti. And the place is going wild. Now, we really don't even know each other.
Wow.
So then all of a sudden the third show rolls around, and I said to him, listen, dude, I'm going to come walking out in the middle of your show.
Nice.
Don't worry, let's see what happens. And he cracked a smile. He goes, what are you going to do? I'm like, I really don't know.
Yeah.
And at that time, I used to sell these panties that said, get the bat. The panties.
Yeah.
So I came out on stage, and I go like this, listen, do me a favor, plug these panties. And the audience is screaming.
Of course.
And he goes, Mike, we're in front of the audience. I go, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's why I want you to do it now.
Yep. It's the best.
And it's just
Spontaneity. It's that era. That's why I'm saying you have that flavor. Sal has that too as a performer. He's a charming guy. He's very sharp on his feet. I've hung out with him a bunch and seen him perform. He's got that same. It's a type of show business. You know. It's funny because you come from the training acting world, but you're so polished and good at improvising as a comedian. It's like you do both so well, I feel like.
Well, that's why we're going to do some shows together, because
Yes.
I want to get up and going with what we were shooting, Make America Italian Again,
Right.
which was the spoof of the mob running for the presidency. And what I did was I would be calling some of my comedian friends and saying, hey, what are you doing Thursday? Let's go shoot a vignette. And we'd make them up as we went along.
Amazing.
Then it got serious. and the writing became bigger and better, and now the actors become bigger and better, and I'm hoping we're going to start shooting again. I got a great crew. My producer Tatiana's on point. The director Cody, phenomenal.
Awesome.
And we all have fun while we're doing it. And also, you know, that thing that I'm doing now called The Adventures of G.I. Giovanni, which is the G.I. Joe doll as a wise guy.
Well, I love hanging too with you because I told you when we talked on the phone the first time, your if the president was Italian bit was circulated across my whole family before I ever met you. Like, so it's cool to meet you now.
It's cool, isn't it?
It's cool how like I knew your comedy before I knew you personally, and I sent it. And my dad, everybody's Italian. My father-in-law's off the boat from Calabria. We're all cracking up at that bit. It must feel good knowing your stuff's hitting with your people in a way, you know?
Yeah, you know, some people they don't like when you do that. Like, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that. I'm like, come on, it's a joke.
Yeah.
It's a joke. You're supposed to get some joy out of it.
Yeah.
Don't look deep into it. There are jokes that I do that are hardcore from my family, and people will say to me, you know, we don't all act like that. And I said, I didn't say you did. We did.
Yeah, yeah.
And I could take some words out if you want to be excluded. It's very simple. I mean, my mother was so about feeding the three boys, Paul, Michael, and Anthony. So every morning there was a lunch brown bag with our names on it, Paul, Michael, and Anthony. And we would walk to school. We're all a year apart. I have an older brother, younger brother. And we would laugh because she would write the names on the brown bag, but the lunches were the same. So you would just think that was funny. And I would put that into a stand-up routine.
Of course.
Because that's massive love.
Yeah.
And then what happened on Fridays when you got your brown bag? That's when Mommy put the sopressata in your brown bag. And by the time you got to school, you had the oil stain in the bottom of the bag.
Of course.
But half the kids in my school were Italian, so we all had the same bag. It was hilarious. Is that salami? No, that's the sopressata.
Come on. They got more oil on the bottom.
And then my mother would go like this, make sure you eat it because I ain't doing it no more. I've had enough. Your kids are spoiled.
Right.
Every day.
That's amazing, man. Oh, so it reminds me of my upbringing, too. That's what I love about your stuff. It's so true. It's funny hearing your voice. Like you were talking about early on in your career doing voices. Can you sound non-Italian?
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
See, we actually think, or the world thinks because of television, that we sound Italian. We don't. We sound New Jersey. My mother sounds Italian, like a disa.
Yes.
There's people from Italy who still talk like a disa.
Hey, a lot of yes, Mike.
Yeah.
How's the microphone?
I never sounded like that. I sound like I'm from New Jersey, which is called an ease. So when I was in the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, how now, brown cow? And it was difficult. And then I became a spokesman for a supermarket in Philadelphia, Gennardi's family, and I would speak as clearly as I could. But when I came to California, people were telling me, you know, it's a lot funny when you talk like that. And I go, really? So then I would throw it on even thicker. Mm-hmm. And now at the point where, like, who really cares? Mm-hmm. It's funny.
Yeah.
So some people will come up to me and say, you know, I think the way you sound is sexy.
There you go.
I'm like, well, really? Get in the trunk. So, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. There's a commercial that came out in 1982, which was me. I played a Marine coming home from boot camp on United Airlines. I was at the American Academy. I think I was 17, 18 years old, just graduated high school. I was told by an agent in New York City that I would never work in the commercial business because I sounded like a dummy from New Jersey. I went home and I cried to Mommy. She made me some pasta. I was all right.
Yeah, of course.
A friend of mine was going to this audition for United Airlines, and at that time you could crash an audition. If you didn't get caught, you'd be all right. So
Nice.
I put down some agent's name. Long story short, I booked the commercial. 3 months later, #1 commercial. First time they ever spent $1 million on a TV commercial. I was nominated for Best Male Performer in a TV commercial at the Clio Awards. Mm-hmm. I lost to Tom McCann for Dr. Pepper ads. But I ended up signing with that agency that told me I would never work because the head of the office saw it and said, this kid is unbelievable.
Wow.
And he's going to have a great career doing TV commercials. So
Yeah.
now I go meet the head of J. Michael Bloom Agency in New York City. And I met J. Michael Bloom. He says, we're going to sign you across the board. I have an audition for you tomorrow afternoon for the movie Full Metal Jacket. You're a great Marine. You're a great type. And now I'm going to introduce you to everybody. They introduced me to everybody in the office. And the last one was the lady who said I would never work. And he said, this is so-and-so. She works in commercials. How come I know that face? Now I have a shaved head. Mm-hmm. And I says, well, I was here a little while ago.
Yeah,
you said I wouldn't work. Oh, but in the commercial, you sound like you're from the Midwest. And I go,
Wow.
And away I went. And then I ended up having an incredible commercial career for probably a good part of my early 20s before your face starts to change and you're not a young kid anymore. And now you're a young man, which means the category is going to be overwhelmingly filled with young men, whereas the younger was not as much.
Right, right. It reminds me of that quote, the best revenge is massive success. I think Sinatra acquired that quote. I don't know if he wrote it, but that's basically, because it's so funny how people don't understand that if you're not in this business, that everyone hears stuff like that, and you have to just figure out a way. Like, it sounds like you've always believed in yourself in a way to keep pushing entertainment and what you want to do.
It's hard. There were times where, you just want to say, screw this.
Yeah.
Let me go home and get married and have some kids and work for my dad's company.
Yeah.
There was many times in my 20s and 30s that I said, I can't do this anymore. This is ridiculous. You were waiting on auditions. You were hoping you'd get a call back. I had to get a part-time job. And then in my 40s, that's when I started to do a lot of touring as a stand-up. And I loved it. And I was making great money. Then I started doing cruise ships. And I loved it. I was making great money. So for the last, I'd say, 15 years now, I started turning things down. Oh, I don't really want to go, or I really don't need that kind of money. But where I am in my career right now, I'm really, really happy. I love doing what I do.
Yeah.
The people start to suck.
The in-betweens, you mean? The
Yeah.
bookers, the business side. Yeah, it's a grimy
Good
part
God.
of the business. But nothing's like getting on stage and killing like you do. And that's what makes it worth it, right?
I guess. I don't know what it is. But then there's also the hidden gems. Like, this is great.
I'm glad
Look
you
at
feel
us.
that way. Because
We're hanging out.
We're new.
I found you.
You did?
I saw you interviewing a guy who I love, Joe Torre, Guy Torre.
Yeah.
That's his brother, Joe.
Yeah, yeah.
A Guy Torre was responsible for creating Fat Tuesday.
Right,
And I was
Comedy
one of the only white guys who played that night.
That's awesome. I didn't know that.
Yes, that's how I know him, because he was doing Fat Tuesday, and then they started to include me in other things that they were doing, and I got to meet everybody from Monique. These names are gonna escape me. His brother Joe Torre, all the black up and coming comics of that time, the '90s.
Yeah, I mean everyone
that
was
was
there.
slaughtering it.
Yeah, yeah. What a cool. That's why I
Michael
love talking to you.
Collier. Of course, Gary Owens was one of the outbreaking white comics that played that night. But I did it. I used to walk out and say, hi, how is everybody doing? Listen, it's very nice that you allowed me to come, but I'm not white, I'm Italian, so relax. And they would just be like, I can't believe he just said that.
Yeah.
And then I never changed my act. Everybody was like, what did you do to get over on that night? Because the audience was pretty much all black. And the comedians were black. And I said, I didn't do anything different.
Yeah.
I did my act
Right.
about being Italian. Because when you tell the truth, doesn't matter where anybody's culture is or whatever they're back. Well, yeah, you know what he means.
Yeah.
You know what he
and
means.
also there's relatability to cultures. Like, it's unifying because there's similarities, I'm sure, in upbringing in certain ways from Italians and black people, right?
Yeah.
So they can relate at that show as well. Like, you're being authentic to yours. I'm sure there's a version of Brown Bags, that would work.
Yes.
I'm saying that's what's great about comedy. Anybody should be able to. That's why I fear about the world. And I'm not a political comic, but I do like talking to someone who's been in the game for a long time, because it does feel now we're at a place where it's like you got to pick and choose, and you can only talk about certain things. The fact that you said you're not white, you're Italian. Do you say that on stage now? I would say that on stage now.
I could, yeah.
But some people would say, "Oh, I'm not sure. We're talking race. We're talking. You are. You look white. Are you? You know, which is I say. You know, it's funny. I say to my friends all the time. I say, I'm not white. I'm olive. That's what I say. It's very similar.
That's funny.
Similar.
It's true.
It's a different time for being on stage and being someone who makes jokes. And I love that. It seems like your act has been very like true throughout your career. Like you're not changing your act for the times, right?
No.
Great.
No,
Don't.
Well, I change what I see, or should I say I add or create new, but not dancing around any reasons to watch what I say. I never did anything offensive anyway.
Yeah.
It's very easy for me to walk into a supermarket and come up with jokes.
Right.
I don't like doing self-checkout. I think they should do it because I did it when I was a cashier, but I can make jokes about it very easily. And I don't know if you know this now, but you can actually get your taxes done at Walmart. Now, I'm going to run with that.
Yeah.
Because I actually went and I said, who's the accountant? And they said, well, it's self-checkout accounting. I go, so I'm doing my own taxes?
Yeah.
See?
Exactly.
Very easy.
Exactly. Yeah, I love your stuff too because it's not polarizing. I mean, there's like, I think comedy should be for everybody to laugh. It shouldn't be you're on my side and you're not. And there is some comedy. I just saw a show here in L.A. and I don't want to be a guy who new in comedy who's like, you know, talking down about anything. But it felt like a rally. It didn't feel like a comedy show. It felt like we were at a protest. And I was like, what's happening? Where are the jokes?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you got. I feel like you approach your writing, you approach your thing with authenticity and jokes. And I just love seeing that. I think the best comedians are successful when it's that way, you know? Like, we don't need to be preached to as audiences. Do you think that?
Yeah. No, you don't have to preach to nobody. You just say what's going on. Like, just sitting here, I'm so happy that I'm looking at that beach chair. The average person would say that's a beach chair. My family would say, no, that's a sit-down Chase Lounge.
Chase Lounge.
That's the Chase Lounge. My mother had the one that extended all the way out. You could lay back, you could put your feet up, and I still have it. It's like yellow and white. And I remember when she would take it to the beach, if it broke a little bit, you can go to a place and buy repairs for it, and they would repair it. So I keep it, and I actually bring it to the beach when I go, and people are like, where'd you get that? I'm like, this is a classic 1972 Chase Lounge.
This is why we're friends, man. This is why I love this stuff, too.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, you got to. The things are better from then, I think, in many ways. This was made here. It was classic. Somebody drank a Coors Banquet beer in this, smoking Marlboro Red.
Miller High Life.
Yes, America. You know?
Ballantine.
yeah, Ballantine. What do you do now? Are you here more than Jersey, or are you on the road touring now all the time?
I was always here in California more than anywhere.
Okay.
But when opportunity starts knocking to go on the road, I would say I stay in California when I do a West Coast show from California to Texas or to Vegas. That would be that area. But if I'm going to do New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia, Connecticut, Canada, I'll make my home in New Jersey. So technically, I live in both states.
Nice.
But I am registered as a Californian.
Nice. So, I mean, your taxes are all messed up. That's why you're doing them at Walmart. You got taxes all over the country, this guy.
Did my taxes today, man. Oh,
That's stressful.
I hope I don't get anything back. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
Hey, we're Italian. I don't even like the idea of taxes.
Taxes?
Okay?
Who's that?
Yeah.
Never heard of the guy.
Yeah, come on.
Must be from your neighborhood.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a cliche that's so real. The government once seized my bank account when I was younger. I didn't know. I had like a sketchy account. Seized my bank account, took money because I didn't pay 1 year. I didn't even know because I hired a kind of sketchy guy.
Really?
A neighborhood guy. Yeah. So it happened once. I learned the hard way. The government knows. You gotta appreciate what we have here in a way. What we're making.
I used to do a joke a while ago. Maybe I'll bring it back to life. I would say if If I was the president of the United States, you would never have to pay taxes. If I don't pay them, why should you?
That's great. That's exactly right. Yeah.
It's just a joke. Don't get mad.
Exactly.
It's kind of funny.
The government's going to use this footage to put us both in jail in a couple of years. This is going to happen. Listen, we'll talk more about this after the show, but I'm developing a variety show like what you're talking about with Sal and a bunch of guys for New York, and I want you to be in it.
Of course, let's go.
I want to say it now and document because this show is going to be amazing. We're going to do it in the fall in New York. I'm in the process of starting it up, and I've dreamt of doing this for years. That's also why I'm picking your brain about the variety stuff. That we want to have Sal and the big band, and I want to create something today that's a lot like that time. And you do shows like that already. I mean, people are doing it. I just don't think there's enough of it. Like we're dinner, nice show out. Everyone's wearing tuxes. I'm wearing tux. Like kind of classy night out, but hilarious.
One night I was opening for Robert Davi. We were in Long Island. There was about maybe 10,000 people watching the show. And this is when he had this huge band. The guy who played the xylophone played with Sinatra. His name's going to escape me, but I did know him for a long time. He passed away in his late 90s. A rimba player, if you know what that is. And it was just unbelievable. They made books about this guy. It's a lost art. But after doing a bunch of shows, I said to the piano player who is in charge of the orchestra and the band, what do they call him? Not
Conductor?
the band leader, but no, it's another name. Not composer, but he's in charge of the band, let's say. He reads the charts. He sets everybody afloat. So I said to him, hey, let's do something different tonight. I don't really work like this, but why don't you have the drummer do some rim shots? And he goes, okay. And I says, I don't really do setup jokes, so you can't really go ba-dum-bump, because I don't do that. But maybe you could just have some fun. Let's try something. So I go out on stage, and he's going boom, boom, crash in all the wrong spots. Nothing's making any sense. And I'm going like this. So a guy goes, pack, go, crash. And I'm looking over my shoulder. I said, boom, crash, bam. So I says to the piano player, because he had the microphone, the drummer didn't. And I go, hey, what's with your boy? Right? And he goes, he don't speak English. And the place went wild. So now I got to come up with something.
Yeah.
And I go, yeah, I know why you don't speak English, because none of you guys are legitimate band players. You all stole those things. You're from a gang. This went on for like 15 minutes, and people are laughing and screaming. And then we did another one with Dina, and they had a problem with the sound. Her husband's the composer, and he says, do me a favor, Mike. Can you go up there and kill some time? Till we get the microphone going. And I go, but if the microphone don't work, how's anybody going to hear me? Because this is outdoors too. And he handed me a bullhorn from a cop car.
Oh, my God.
Now, everybody in the band looked at me like, what the hell is he going to do with that? Most comedians would have got pissed off.
Right.
I go, oh, this is going to be great. So I walked out on stage, and I started doing stand-up through the bullhorn. But I was making fun of my life and my situation and how I'm never going to hit the big time. I really should just be a cop. But after about 10 minutes, they heard the sound kick on. I never put the bullhorn down.
That's great.
And I just kept on doing it. So when I eventually had to introduce Dina, she's in the corner laughing. The band is screaming. They're like, come on, put it down, put it down. I'm like, no. You started this.
Yeah, you're committed.
So I introduced her with the bullhorn. Everybody's laughing. We're having fun. I usually come out and sing the last song with the cast. And I can't sing, so I shut my mic off, and I pretend. So when I came back out, I grabbed the microphone, and I go, you've been a great crowd. Good night. And everybody's like, wow. That must have been the most incredible rehearsed show we've ever seen.
Yeah.
There was no rehearsal.
Right.
Nobody knew it was coming. Nobody.
The best.
Just people who knew how to have a good time.
Yeah.
And make it look like nobody's mad, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever happens.
Yeah. That's what my favorite shows are. That's why I love that you're that way on stage. I think the best performers are that way. That's how comedy started. It was things on stage, you're doing this thing, it's surprise. It's like, oh, this didn't know this was going to happen, you know? And you can't, I've talked about this here and there with people, you can't fake it. You can't fake that, the funniness of that.
The last Saturday night of April, I'm going to do a show back at the Comedy Chateau. So
Yeah,
why
I
don't
know
you
it.
do the show with us?
I would love that.
We'll put it together. My friend Marco Asante going to be in the show. He's Armando Asante's cousin, and he plays my co-star henchman in Make America Italian Again. The
Amazing.
following day, we're leaving for Vegas for 14 shows
Wow.
at the Tropicana. So you got to involve yourself in what we're doing because it's going to be cool.
Get me in. I would love to do anything with you guys. I've been to the
cool.
chat. I played at the Chateau a bunch. I know Felix over there and everybody. I would love to go over there and do anything with you guys.
Let's do
Whatever
that.
you want. That sounds amazing. You guys are hearing it first here. Come see us whenever that is. Once this is out, or come see him, Mike Marino, whenever he's ready.
Find me.
Find me. Describe for people who don't know, just for new people who are coming to the show, the concept of Make America Italian Again.
Of course, when Trump said "Make America Italian Again," no, when he said "Make America Great Again," we had to do a spoof on the line.
Course.
"Make America Italian Again."
Of course.
So we had an Italian golf tournament, and we had Italian shows, and we were doing wise guy type, crazy, silly little stuff, and that's where we just stuck in the tag. I actually had a copy written, and I bought it.
That's smart.
So that we can actually label our show "Make America Italian Again," Marino 2016. So now I have a new show that we're doing called Welcome to the Family. Could be Make America Italian Again Part 2, Marino 2024.
Yeah, let's see the shirt. Look at that.
So we'll see where it takes us.
Oh, wait, is that also on your jumpsuit, your tracksuit?
This tracksuit does say "Make America Italian Again" on the back. In the front, it says New Jersey's Bad Boy, and I got the sweatpants. Everything's for sale at MikeMarino.net.
There you go. What
Help
happens,
us out.
What happens when you walk around on tour and around the country and people see that phrase? What do people say to you? Do people laugh? Or they
A
go,
lot of people just say, "Hey, do you mind if I take a picture of your shirt?"
okay, that's great.
And then sometimes I turn around and they go, "Oh, wait a minute. You're that guy."
Yeah.
So a lot of people might not know my name, but they'll be like, "You're that guy."
Yeah.
Or some people who do know my name, and they're like, "Oh, my God, what are you doing around here?"
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the funniest experiences I've ever had of getting recognized on the street was in Home Depot. And I was buying wood, and some guy goes, "Oh, come on, man." And I'm like, "Oh, am I in the wrong lane?" And he goes, "What you doing in here?" And I'm like, "I'm buying wood." He goes, "You just walk out in public?" Then I realized this guy thinks I'm such a big star, I need security.
Yeah, right.
And he's wondering, why would I get the wood?
Yeah, right.
And I'm such a regular dude
Yeah.
that I'm not thinking any of that. I'm
Yeah.
thinking, did I get the wrong wood? Am I in the wrong line? Is
Right.
this for contractors?
Yeah, you're doing your thing. You're getting wood, you know?
Yup. I had work done on my house, and these contractors were doing the work, and they're outside cracking up, laughing. And I finally come outside. I'm like, what the hell is so funny? And the guy goes, "Well, we know who you are."
Oh.
And I go, "Then why didn't you say something?" He goes,
Nice.
"Oh, we didn't want to bother you." And I go, "All right, well." And I said, "How long are you doing what you're doing?" They were power washing my
Yeah.
fence.
Nice.
And the guy goes, "We're new to this. We're off-duty police officers." And I go, "You're kidding." He goes, "No." And so we're doing some power washing to make some extra money.
Huh.
And I said, "How's business?" And he goes, "Not that good." And I go stand by your truck. I grab my phone. I go like this, "You need your power washing." And I put it up on Instagram. Guy
Nice.
called me later that night. He goes, "Yeah, we booked out $2,000 worth of work." I'm like, "Good for you."
Wow.
And I'm going to go on the internet saying, "Listen, not only is your place going to be clean, but it's safe."
You got backup right in your yard, cleaning it up. I love that, man. That's so funny.
This is why I want to do a series that I wrote called Growing Up Grand, about my life returning to Scotch Plains, New Jersey, and having all the people look at me like, "Wow, look at what you've done." And all I really want to do is a TV series.
It'd be great.
Yeah, we just got to get it in the hands of the right people, because it's also the type of show where it's going to make everybody enjoy, not just Italian people. Everybody. I come from a town in New Jersey where everybody's happy.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. I don't like to get too in the weeds about moving here, but I'm only 2 years in this town, and I am struggling with the bubble lifestyle versus how we grew up. I grew up in North Jersey similarly, walked places. I always say I need everything on a corner. That's how I grew up. I had a baker, a barista, a butcher, and a dry cleaner, one corner, right? That's how I grew up. Here, I'm driving 20 minutes to get to one guy I like. I got to go to the deli in Burbank. It's 25 minutes that way. It's a very isolated type of lifestyle. Do you find that you live more New Jersey here because you've been here for a while? Because I don't feel like it's not that comfy with it right now, honestly. Like I feel at home with you.
Back in the early 2000s, me and my friends from New York and New Jersey created the Feast of San Gennaro in Los Angeles, which eventually said Jimmy Kimmel and Adam Carolla present the Feast of San Gennaro. And then we created the Sons of Italy and the Grandsons of Italy. And you had a sense of family. There's a lot of Italian restaurants. There's a great Italian deli in Lakewood. There's a great Italian restaurant on Melrose Avenue. There are a lot of these places. You just got to know who they are and where they are.
I got to hang with you more.
And it will make you feel that sense of, okay.
We're here.
Yes. But not, in my opinion, not as much.
Yeah.
Because your family's always your family, and my family's all back east. I'm the only one that came to California.
Wow, I'm similar, so I get that.
Because we're in showbiz.
Yeah, I got to come hang with you in that crew because that's my people. I lived right off Mulberry for 10 years in New York, so I'm from San Gennaro, New York.
Right.
So I need that here. I don't have that, so I got to come hang with that crew. I want to. That'd
Not
be
a
great.
problem.
That'd be awesome, man.
I'll give you the keys to my house.
Wow, that'd be perfect. Wow, what a friendly. See,
Yeah.
Italians take care of each
My
other.
studio don't look half this good, but
Listen, I'll take the keys to your house, but I'm not paying your taxes. So I'll tell you that much. Hey, yo. How's your De Niro face? It's a few decades into you still got a good De Niro face? Let's do a quick De Niro face break.
I used to do a joke like this. I would say, my niece turned 6 years old, and I taught her how to do some stand-up comedy. And I taught her how to do Robert De Niro and Raging Bull. So I set her up in front of her mother's side of the family, and I said, all right, Samantha, show everybody how Uncle Michael taught you how to do Robert De Niro and Raging Bull. And the little kid went like this. You fuck my wife? And I don't know why they got mad at me, because that's pretty good for 6.
That's really good. I love the De Niro face. I'm always trying to do that one. Huh?
I make De Niro faces now because I'm getting so old. I hurt myself and I go,
On my back. Oh, God. Oh, man. You got to get that? Is someone
No.
ringing?
I'm on a show right now. Don't be calling
Yeah,
me.
we're casual, though, man. The phone rings. You pick it up. I do want to do a quick thing with you because you described a scene that happened, and I'm very spontaneous as well, even though it's a podcast. I want to do a quick drummer bit with you because I haven't done this yet in the show. So you're going to tell a quick joke, and I'm going to be the foreign drummer. All right? You ready? Here we go. Let's make sure we get in the shot, though. All right, Mike Marino's on stage.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show. We have a
I scared the shit out of him. I scared him. He's going to the heart doctor. We gotta be careful.
4 o'clock, I'm going on a treadmill. And that was loud.
Yeah.
We got a great show lined up for you tonight, folks. Some of the greatest entertainers are going to be performing with us here tonight. Maybe you've heard of the incredible singer. Sal Valentinetti will be on the show tonight. Sal.
And that's our show, everybody.
Janet, can you get me my coffee? That's hilarious.
I've never done that here. Why not? Why not? Here, I got the drums here. I might as well mess with you for a second, you know? Why not?
You should bring the band here. We'll bring them on.
That'd be cool. I started in music growing up. I used to play in wedding bands in New Jersey, actually. My dad's from a wedding band. So I played. You did that too? See, drummers, you're second born too, right? Right.
I'm a Mike Marino Jr., if that's what you mean.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
You're born. I thought you said you had two older and a younger brother. You're second.
I'm in the middle.
In the middle, yeah.
I'm in the middle.
We're middle kids, drummers, comedy, Italian, similar. You're just a lot blonder than me. You know, I have a cousin in Naples who's as blonde as you, and he always gets jokes.
Oh, is that right?
In Naples, because he doesn't look like anybody.
I got to get out there. I got to get to.
You ever been to Italy?
To Italy. I was when I was 23 years old. Joined the Navy, see the world. TV commercial.
Nice, nice.
Imagine that.
Wow, you went there because of that?
Booked a TV commercial with 6 other actors. We were all around 23, 24. The campaign was join the Navy, see the world. And we went out there to shoot the commercials. And after 2 weeks of shooting, one of the other actors and I decided, let's stay a couple of weeks. And we did.
Nice.
I haven't been back. I do know where my grandparents' house is. They eventually sold it, and no one's there anymore. But most my closest relatives of my mother's side of the family are in Canada, Toronto, and they're all bilingual.
There's a lot of Italians in Canada. Like there's a lot of
especially in Toronto.
A lot of those Italian meme pages. A couple of Italian pages you probably follow, like Hardcore Italians. Some of these like Instagram pages. Some of them they're all Canada. A lot of them.
The Hardcore Italians did some shout outs to me, and they put me up on their internet.
Nice,
which is really cool. I met them when I got to Canada because I recently did a show out there, and I also met them in Chicago. No, Chicago. There's another group that's in Canada.
Yeah, there's a maybe it's Hardcore Italians in Chicago, but there's somebody in Canada because there's a big Italian section there.
Hardcore Italians, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's hardcore. Somebody else. I know the Growing Up Italian fellas too in Brooklyn. I don't know if you know those guys.
Yes.
I'm sure you know them.
Sabino,
yeah. We know. It's funny, man. I'm so grateful to meet you. We know a lot of the same people, which means we're supposed to be friends. And also, it's very New Jersey of us to know a lot of the same people.
I'm hoping I'm going to see Sabino this Friday night because I'm going to be at the comic strip in New York, and I did invite those guys. Sabino's been on my podcast. Sal Valentinetti's been on my podcast.
Good people. Sabino owes me a phone call right now, Sabino. If you're hearing this, I hope
you chatted
by then about the show I'm developing. That's what we're going to talk about.
Great.
Yeah, we're getting I want to get everyone together, everyone from that era, and that group kind of do a nice show together.
The one thing I would say about, let's say, Sabino and Growing Up Italian, they are young guys who are taking the heritage forward.
Yeah.
Because if they don't, who's gonna?
Yeah.
And I hope they do it right. So far, so good.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
You go to Little Italy in New York. It's they're trying to survive down there. So to your point, we got to continue to do things, for the culture in that way. People also, I think, all cultures are celebrated. I think Italians, we just have the best food. That's all.
It's true.
Nah, there's good sushi out here. It's all right.
There's a lot of good places to eat. There's a place down in Lakewood called Foggia Italian Market and Deli. I've been promoting these guys for a long time. Guy came to see me do stand-up at the Laugh Factory in Long Beach. He handed me a sandwich to die for, and I went on stage with the sandwich and started telling people, get out of Subway. Get out. Here's where you go.
Nice. I go to Pinocchio. I go to Monte Carlo in Burbank
for
my pizza ingredient. I make pizza here now. I got it. What you got to try. I make brick oven pizza here.
All right.
Because our place had a brick oven when we got it. It was a dream. So I started getting into pizza now. Now I'm making Jersey, New York style, brick oven style pizza. But I need a better deli. Like Lakewood might be better for me than Monte Carlo. Monte Carlo's good, but your guy sounds good.
Yeah, I don't want to put anybody down, but I'd go to Lakewood.
Very convincing right there. I don't know. You want to go to Lakewood, see a guy in Lakewood,
You go to Lakewood, you order the number 4.
Beautiful.
The Mike Marino sandwich.
Did you audition for The Sopranos?
Never.
They missed out on you.
I never auditioned for The Sopranos. I never had anything to do with it.
You would have been great.
Maybe. I wish I could have. Maybe we'll do our own thing.
That's what I'm saying. No, you just remind me of that cast of characters. I bring up The Sopranos a lot because even me, I'm new to California. People, they think you're a caricature in a way, and they think those characters are caricatures. That's really how we grew up. That's really my family. That's really your family. There's real people like that. People think it's like if you don't know it, it's ignorance. They think it doesn't exist.
It exists. I did a lot of shows with Vinny Pastore.
Oh, nice.
We did a movie called Pizza with Bullets. He played the mob boss. I played the priest. We were in scenes with Talia Shire.
Cool.
And then Vinny had a trio. He would sing. So we did some shows together where he would sing with the band and I would do some stand-up. We did Florida. We did Jersey. And a lot of stuff. I still talk to him every once in a while. And it's kind of funny how you become friends with people who you admire and look up to.
Sure.
I have 6 celebrities on a reel talking about how they saw me doing stand-up.
Wow.
It's pretty badass.
That's awesome.
I couldn't believe I got him. And one of them's John Voight. And when he came to do the interview to talk about how he met me and where he saw me, I said to him, you know, John, I would appreciate it if you, and he goes, I know what to do. And here's an Oscar winner. And he said, I was watching Mike perform, and I'm saying to myself, I think I know this man. He feels like my family. And then I realized, I don't know him. He's a pro.
Yeah.
And that's talent. And I met him because I was hosting the Beverly Hills Film Awards. And when I was doing my monologue in front of all the industry in a tuxedo, it was like the Oscars. And he came walking in the back of the room in a tuxedo, and he was late. So I said in front of all these people at the Beverly Hills Hotel, excuse me, who are you to come walking into this room 5 minutes into my monologue? And everybody turned around and went, oh, my God.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm sorry, there was traffic. And I go, how long you living in California? And then we started going back and forth all night long in jolliness.
That's great.
And at the end of the night, he came up and he got his Lifetime Achievement Award. And he said to the audience, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say this young man should be hosting the Oscars because that is talent.
Nice.
And then I got his phone number, and sometime later I was getting ready to do a comedy special at the Borgata in Atlantic City. So I called Joe Mantegna. I called Armand Asante. I called 2 radio personalities. I called John Voight. I called Robert Davi. And I asked them all for testimonials, and they gave them to me.
That's great.
And Joe Mantegna. So when it was all done, I put it up on these jumbotrons, and the audience got to see that testimonial before I walked out on stage.
Nice.
And quite honestly, I think it was 2016. I'm looking at it going, holy crap. They're talking about me.
Yeah.
They did it, and they came, and we
Yeah,
did it.
yeah.
And we shot the show. So now, all these years later, if I can get to just one more level of what I want to do, I would call them all and say, guys, we're shooting this.
Yeah, yeah.
What would you like to do?
That's great.
John, would you like to play my dad in this sitcom? And I bet you any money they're all going to say, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That'd be great. I think it'll happen. Why won't it happen?
That's what I'm looking to do.
That's amazing. I can see you doing that. That's great, man. That's what's fun about the world we're in too now is you have an audience. You're touring the country and the world, and you have a platform, so you can make that show, and you probably will. Like it can happen. You can get someone to pick it up. You also can make it and have an audience around it. Like I think this is a time for creators as well, more than ever before. Like even this, nobody's asking me to do this, but here we are doing a show with a legend. So I think that the possibilities are endless for your show. Think of it that way. I think it'll happen. Those guys will do it for you because it's you. It doesn't have to be,
Yeah. We got to make this happen
Yeah, I love it.
because, man, why not?
Yeah.
We all have a lot of friends in common. I always wanted to get Sal to do Make America Italian again with me and play the character Johnny Fontaine.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
You can act like a man if you want. You don't have to. You don't have to do it that way anymore. Things are different. See how we could twist that?
Yeah, right.
You could act like a man. Maybe not.
Maybe
Maybe
not.
not. You could
If you want.
If you want to. If you don't have to,
No.
you can.
It could be anything you want. Just act like a respectable human.
If you don't even have to sing.
Yeah. You do whatever you want. I have a bit I do I think you'll appreciate about getting married, and I go, I do the dishes. I did the dishes one night. You get stuck in roles. I did the dishes one night, and now I do the dishes for all of eternity. And I watched my dad do the dishes. His dad did the dishes. I come from a long line of Italian men, and now I want out. I'm like Fredo in The Godfather. I'm smart. I could do other things. It's one of my bits.
Like everybody thinks.
Yeah. Godfather, man.
My mother got a brand new dishwasher back in, I guess, the 70s. And she would always wash dishes by hand. And I'd say, Ma, you got the dishwasher. Why don't you put the dishes in the dishwasher? And she goes, what? That dishwasher going to clean these dishes better than your mother?
Nope.
And she never used it.
Wow.
And it's a waste of water. There's only 10 dishes. You only use a dishwasher when you put in 40. I go, Ma, you just finished Thanksgiving. 40 people just left the house. You know what? Why don't you go in the parlor and watch television with your father and get out of my face? But you see how that's going to be funny for everybody because everybody's mother said that.
Of course.
And you see, it came into my head, the word parlor. Who says that anymore?
Yeah.
Go in the parlor.
Go in the parlor. I don't even know what a parlor is these days.
Nobody does.
Yeah, I love it.
Never hear parlor.
The parlor. The parlor.
Wipe your feet off the shag rug, otherwise there's going to be dirt. What? What?
Did your parents put the covering over the couch?
No.
Good.
They really didn't.
That's a real thing, but my grandparents did.
My grandparents did.
My Nona and grandpa did.
They had the runner in the living room when you came walking in on the plastic.
Of course.
Sometimes we would turn it over just to see if somebody walked in barefoot so they get spikes in their feet.
I still have my grandparents' David statue that they had in their house. It's here now. It's a giant David they had for forever since we were kids.
I have my great-grandmother's bust of Jesus Christ. And when you look at it, you're petrified. It scared the bejesus out of a child. Go talk to Jesus. His eyes are moving. They're in my house. They're worth a lot of money.
That's nice. That's nice.
They're actually worth a lot of money because they're collector's items.
Yeah.
You can't get them anymore.
No. There's a certain realness and era of that time, man, that I think we both love. Like, I have so many of my grandparents' things, too. It's awesome.
I'm hoping I'm going to make a documentary called The Real Jersey Shore because in the 80s, I videotaped everything me and my friends did at our beach house in Belmar for 15 summers.
Oh, my gosh.
So I made a little thing where I invited some of my friends to talk about what it was like to be at that time in the 80s, and then I would cut to what they looked like and what we were doing, and I think it would be a hit.
100%.
Because I have it, and you could actually watch it. And it's not like watching a home movie because they're talking to each other. And I was always in show business, so I always had the camera. So you could see guys saying, oh, man, here it is. It's summer. It's 86, man. We're going dancing. And you see what they're wearing, what they look like, how much different, who is skinny, the music, the memorabilia, the times. Belmar, New Jersey was the only town in the United States that had 22 liquor licenses in a 1 mile square radius. Yep. You walk out of your house, you're drinking a beer.
Right, of course. Let me ask you.
Now you got to be a millionaire to live there.
Did anyone get murdered or suspiciously die during the tapes of those?
No.
Okay, because I was going to work on the pitch for Netflix. I could sell that. If you got a murder in there, I'll sell it for you today.
Yeah, I know. I wish we could fake it. We thought somebody died.
Yeah, we never saw Sally again. She just moved out, but we can just say she. No, I'm joking about the murder thing though. I love that idea because I grew up in an era with the stupid show, The Jersey Shore.
Yeah.
That I'm Paul. People have called me Paulie C, Paulie D, my whole show business career because of those kids who weren't even from Jersey. Even worse, I'm an interviewer for TV, and I've interviewed that cast 100 times as an interviewer. And in the back of my mind, I'm on TV, and I'm always going, you guys made my life a living hell. You guys made everybody tell me this is what they think of Jersey. It was a bad name for New Jersey, right? That show. They didn't do us right.
No, and they really weren't from the Jersey Shore. But then again, nobody really was. Everybody was from the outer boroughs. Everybody was from northern New Jersey. A lot of Canadians. I think I'm going to show you the sizzle reel of what we created, and you're going to be like, holy shit.
Hey, I mean, I edit, man. There's a good story there. If you edit it and do it like a episodic series there, it'd be really fun to watch. Also, people love the 80s is relevant. You got Stranger Things. You got all these shows that are set in that decade. It'd be really fun to watch, and you can make it look really cool with the editing. They have filters now.
I think Stranger Things is the one from Westfield, New Jersey, which is the town next to Scotch Plains.
Oh, that's where that's based?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah,
it's about the girl being watched.
No, Stranger Things is the one with the like the underworld and the aliens and stuff.
Oh no, I never saw that. All right, something different.
With some girl being watched in Jersey, that sounds right.
Yeah, but I think it was just a one-off.
Yeah.
A creepy thing that based on a true story.
Oh, okay, yeah. I love that you film so much too, and I grew up going to the Jersey Shore, and I go every summer with my whole family now. We go to Ocean City because my wife's from Philly. We go below. We're way down there with a bunch of people who go, let's go get some water and a salad and a hoagie. That's how they sound down there.
Yeah.
But I love it over there, man. You're speaking. I went to LBI as a kid with my family, so not too far. I know Belmar well though.
I do a show every summer in LBI at the Surflight Theater. It's one of the oldest theaters in the country.
It's my dad's first job as a drummer. played drums in musicals
Surflight?
at Surflight Theater.
And we could talk for 2 days.
And my mom met him. They used to go down. They used to go every summer. And it was always my dream as a kid to go live in LBI and play drums at the Surflight Theater like my dad. I never lived down there.
I was thinking of filming a special at the Surflight
It's a
this
great
summer.
place. Oh, no way. Please invite me. I'll be there.
I sell it out every summer.
Wow.
I bring new stuff to the stage every time I go there because the people come every year, and I got to give them something new.
Sure.
I love to talk about Wildwood and the tram car and all this stupid stuff.
Jersey Shore, real Jersey Shore stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Before you go and run on a treadmill, I am curious as a comedian because I like to learn from comics like you that I have on. Do you have I did talk to Jay Leno as well about this. I've talked to Guy and a lot of people about writing. You don't strike me as someone who sits down with a pen and a pad and goes, I think this is funny.
I never did.
You don't.
No.
But how do you catalog, man? You have hours of material in your head. But
I write one line.
like a bullet point? So you'll say the parlor and you'll go on stage and you're fine?
Yeah, but I never wrote the parlor. So I actually have it in a book, my notes, says growing up Italian. And then everything that I do that has something to do with Italian.
And you bullet point it out. But at this point,
Yes. I used to have, like my first album was called Vinny Get the Bat, and I used to do about, whacking people with a bat, and I wrote this, and I wrote about maybe 20 of them. Then I'd change the page, and I'd say The Last Supper. And then I would just change the page, and I'd say Uncle Tommy, change the page. Dating, change the page. So I never really wrote everything down. I just remembered. So now if I go on stage and I'm supposed to do a 45-minute set, I will write maybe 10 ideas of my act that I want to do for that particular night.
you'll know where you're going. It's a bullet point. You'll basically mishmash the material for that night. And you'll say,
Right.
here's what I'm doing. I get
Unless
that.
I'm having so much fun that I just make stuff up. So that's where I write. I
The
really
best.
probably should write some more stuff down so that I can remember, because there's stuff that I do, let's say, out on a cruise ship that I wouldn't do on land, but I actually could and should.
Sure.
I just forget.
Yeah. That is what I'm interested in, though, now. And I do find, because I've struggled with, like, I'll sit at a computer and I'll try and write jokes. And then I'll go do a show and I'll say stuff in the moment similarly. And then I will remember that. And that you do end up writing on stage in a way that makes you better. Because you don't know until you're up there, right?
Writing on stage, I think, is the best, because if you're in a really great moment and the people are laughing, you will stretch the crap out of the bit.
Yeah.
And it becomes organic, and you will remember it.
Yeah.
So I went from saying, I went to Walmart to do self-checkout, and I realized I had a job, to a joke that could take me almost a half hour to finish.
Wow.
Just Walmart alone. Right now, I started doing some stuff about going to Costco again based on what really did happen. I take cholesterol-lowering medication. I take Lipitor. So if you go to Costco and get the Lipitor, instead of getting 30 for 30, you get 90 for 3 months. Pills. So I went. And you have to be a member unless you're just getting medication. For medication, you don't have to be a member. You just got to prove it's you. So I went to get, this is a true story, I went to Costco in New Jersey, and the pharmacy was closed for another 20 minutes for lunch. So I'm like, all right, I don't want to come all the way back here again. So what did I do? I had lunch at Costco. For $1.50, you can get a foot-long hot
That's
dog
right.
and a Pepsi. So while I was waiting for cholesterol-lowering medication, I had a hot dog and a free refill Pepsi-Cola. You see how stupid that is?
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
How is this not funny?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I put it in my act.
That's great. Yeah.
And then I go like this. And then, surprisingly, when the pharmacy opened, I got my medication. I was still hungry. So I got a slice of pizza.
And the way.
Okay, you're laughing.
Yeah.
But you know how many people probably did that?
Yeah. It's right there.
It's right there.
What are you doing?
The worst thing you could put in your body, which is the medication. I don't know, but I think it becomes funny.
It's great.
And then when I was in Costco, I started looking around at all the things that you can get. Because I really don't shop there. I live alone. I'm a single guy. Why would I buy things in bulk? But they were selling pianos. And I just thought that was weird because I went to see about getting grass seed. And the pianos were being sold by the grass seed. So I'm thinking, well, who lined that up? What person said, hey, listen, while we're gathered here today, you know what we should put next to the grass seed? Some musical instruments. You know, people think lawn, piano.
Yeah.
And they don't even sell Steinways, they sell Kirklands.
Of course.
And that's the joke.
That's great.
So all I did was say what I saw.
Right.
And people crack up because they're like, oh my God, I did see that.
Yeah. Well, you're observational in life, and you've been doing this so long. You write on stage, but you also know how to tell. You're a great storyteller on stage, so you know how to tell it in a way that's funny because of you as a comedian, as a person. I think that's part of the skill and the talent that takes many years to also like fine tune. Like you've been doing this so long. I'm so inspired by that because storytelling, in my mind, I'm not a set-up joke writer either. It's the stories about my real life that I'm starting to now develop, like you, for the first time ever, which is like exciting because it feels like that's where it really starts to work. Stories.
Yeah.
I just sold lemonade with my daughter this weekend, and I'm already writing a bit about it because it was in California. She said she wanted to do it for free. I said, I'm trying to make a buck. This is a lesson to teach. You know, we're Italian. I want her to understand. She said, no, free. I said, of course, I'm raising my daughter in California. She wants to do free lemonade. Of course, the handout. We go out there. I say, but let's guilt the people with your cute faces. We'll have a tip jar. So I'm guilting the people. And of course, first woman that comes up, old lady, she goes, oh, are you donating the tips? And I said, truly, I was like, no, I'm getting new shoes. And she was like,
that's hilarious.
What? And then I said, for the Ukraine. What did you, because I saw her face. So
for Ukraine.
So again, you're inspiring me because I haven't done this on stage yet, but that did just happen to me. And this is me trying to be a good dad. And what did I teach her? To lie to people to get ahead because we had fake lemonade. We said we made it fresh. I forgot to mention that. We said we made it fresh and it was store-bought. So I told her to lie to get ahead and to guilt people into tipping you money. And say, so it's like there's something there. But I just started, there's something there, but it's just brand new in my head. But I'm starting to think how you perform because I think that's where the stuff's at, Let's just make an example. Like, I hope my comedy becomes more like yours, is basically what I'm saying.
And it will. We'll do some stuff together.
We're going to do some stuff, man.
We'll do some stuff.
Well, listen, I can't thank you enough for hanging out in my garage studio living room. And also, Mike, you're making me feel like we're at home. Like, I just feel like you and me need to go to a deli.
The Goomba lights.
Got the Goomba lights. We got lawn chairs. I got banana bread. Everything is just like home. No, really, thank you for being here. I want everyone to make sure you go follow Mike right now. Mike, make sure everyone knows where to follow you.
Follow me.
Where you at Mike Marino Live, right?
All my social media is at Mike Marino Live. My website is mikemarino.net. And you can purchase a tracksuit by going to mikemarino.net.
I want one of those. And I also implore you guys to go see this guy live and on the road because you are so amazing live. I hope everyone goes sees you live. And I hope everyone goes to see us live one day. We do fun things together. I can't thank you enough for coming by, man. It's so cool to connect with you. I feel like it's the start of a little paisan friendship over here.
Paisan friendship.
Couple boys, couple friends.
Unless he serves cold lasagna, everything will be all right.
Coffee's lukewarm. The banana bread's vegan. But cold lasagna I would never do. Okay? All right, Mike, thank you, man. This was great.
Thank you.